So the next shape that we are going to be looking at are trapezoids. So trapezoids are a little bit different than parallelograms. These are the formulas that we have learned so far. You don't have to learn, you don't have to write this down. We've learned about a circle, which is area equals pi r squared. We've learned about a parallelogram or a rectangle, and that formula is area equals base times height. And we have learned about a triangle, and that equals area equals half base times height. The next one that we are going to be adding is a trapezoid. Now remember, you have learned these shapes, except for the circle, you learned these shapes in 6th grade. So area of a trapezoid has one set of parallel lines, and remember, parallel lines are lines that keep on going forever and ever, and they don't meet, which are its bases. Height makes a right angle with its base. So, for example, these are all trapezoids over here. And trapezoids, the parallel lines that you see on the trapezoid, those are called its bases. So this would be base 1, and then this one would be base 2. It doesn't matter which one you name 1 or 2. It can be flipped backwards as long as you understand which ones are the bases. My parallel lines are right here in this trapezoid. So this one is base 1, base 2. And this one, they're right here. This one is base 1. This one is base 2. So your bases are the parallel lines. If you look at the formula down there, you have base 1 and base 2. Okay, so you have two bases in a trapezoid. Now we're going to look really closely at this because I want to look at the height. The height, remember from the triangle, because sometimes it's going to give you those extra numbers. Now, if you remember, the height is not this right here. That's not the height, because that height is actually kind of slanted. This right here is the height because it makes a right angle with its base. And this right here is base 1. And then this right here is base 2. And then this right here, that would be my height. So if I go look at this right here, I'm going to turn this around so you can kind of see it. If I look at it this way, those are still my bases, but the height would actually be right here. So I turned it around. You don't have to turn it around. I'll turn it back around. That's actually the height of that trapezoid. If I look at this one right here, I'm going to turn it around so you can just look. If I look at this, I want to know the height. The height is actually, of this trapezoid, is actually right here because it makes a right angle with its base. So this right here would actually be the height. Now the way that you're looking at it would look like this. This bottom part is actually the height. And although it sounds weird saying that that bottom line is the height, remember that you can always just rotate it. And if we look at it this way, there's base 1, base 2, and then the height makes a right angle with its base. This one right here, this one's a little bit easier to see. The height would be right here. Makes a right angle with this base, and that's a height. A common mistake is that kids think that this is a height, which it isn't because that is actually slanted. So that is not the height. So I'm going to erase that just so you're not confused. Now the formula for a trapezoid is right here. Area equals half, open parentheses, base 1 plus base 2 times height. So a half times, but you have to do this first. You have to add the bases first. And then you just multiply everything else. So let's try some examples over here. This one, here's a trapezoid. Remember that you have to identify the bases. So I am going to say, okay, this one is base 1. My yellows are my bases. And my red right here is my height. The next thing that you do is you have to write down the formula. Base 1 plus base 2 times height. Might look a little confusing, but once you plug those numbers in, and I'm going to do it in yellow, just so you can see where these numbers came from. And my height is 3, and that's pretty easy to tell where that 3 came from. All you do now is just solve. I'm not going to solve with that half first. I'm not going to worry about it right now. I am going to solve 4 plus 6, which is 10. And if you notice, just like I've been showing you with everything else, I'm writing the formula, plugging it in, and solving it. Now you can work with that fraction. Half of 10 is 5 times 3 equals 15, and this one is centimeters squared. Let's go look at number 2. Looking at number 2, it's a trapezoid. It's not a triangle. I do see that you kind of see a triangle over here, but that's not what you're looking at. That's not what you're looking for. You're actually looking for the area of the whole thing. Let's see. Formula. Area equals half base 1 plus base 2 times height. And remember, you will have these formulas in your star chart. So you don't have to memorize. You just have to know which one goes to which. So base 1 is 35. My base 2 is 48, and my height is 26. I'm going to highlight my bases just so you can see. Okay, so let me go highlight. Here is my base. Here is my other base, and then this right here is actually my height. So my yellows went in here, and my red went out here. So now I just solve. I'm not going to solve right underneath here and do my work here because that's going to mess all my work up. I'm going to go off to the side. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 83. Area equals half 83 times 26. I'm going to go double check my work. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 3, 4, 8. Okay. So in this case, I hope you remember kind of what I taught you with working with that fraction. I can't really take half of 83 because 83 is an odd number and you can't split it evenly in half. So I'm actually going to take half of 26, which is 13. And then I'm going to go do my work off to the side. You can pause the video if you need to slow down and look at it. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let me look at my work. 3 times 3 is 9. That's 24. Placeholder 3, 8. Okay, so my area is 1,079 centimeters squared. Okay, so let's look at this one over here. Formula, area equals half base 1 plus base 2 times the height. You have to go see which ones are the bases. I'm going to highlight my bases in red. Now, your bases are the ones that are parallel lines. And your height is the one that's straight up and down, not this. I'm going to put an X right there. It's not that one. So I am going to plug my numbers in. That's 9 plus 6. And my height is 2.7. Okay, so 9 plus 6 is 15. Bring down everything. Okay, so you can actually take half of 15 if you want to, because it's probably easy to take half of 15. So I'm going to just go and take half of that. and I get 7.5. Remember, taking half of something is the same thing as dividing it by 2. So your work should look exactly like mine. Formula, plug in your numbers, start solving it until you can get to your final answer. If you need to press pause so you can catch up. But I'm going to multiply this over here off to the side. Eight, 9, 10. My 2 decimals. Let's see. Okay, I have checked over my work. My area is 20.25 centimeters. Nope, that's not centimeters, it's feet squared. Feet squared. I know it looks a little all colorful, but look at my work. It's nice and pretty and organized. Okay, so let's work on these last 3. Let's see. That's a trapezoid. Area equals half base 1 plus base 2 times height. That's the formula. So I'm just going to write down what each step is. Formula, substitute, and then right here, you're going to solve. $19 plus 17. Let's see, 19 plus 36 times 9. That is half of 36 is 18 times 9. So 18 times 9, that's a lot of work, and it looks like a lot of work, but you're solving it correctly. Area equals 162 yards squared. Okay, so on this one, you're going to do the same thing. Area equals half base 1 plus base 2 times the height. Area equals half. Now, my bases are right here. Oh, I just realized I didn't identify my bases over here. Those are my bases. The parallel lines are your bases, and the one that makes a right angle with the base, it's your height. So this is 9.7 plus 6.8 times 3. Bring down your half. Let's see, 9.7 plus 6.8. Let's see. It is 16.5 times 3. Okay, so on this one, I know what half of 3 is. Remember, to take half of something, you're really multiplying by fraction, so it's really 3 over 2. So it's really 3 divided by 2, and I actually know what that is, and it's 1.5. So 16.5 times 1.5, and I am going to do that for you in the calculator real quick, and it is 24.75. Of course, you normally do not get a calculator. Just for solving purposes and to get through the video, I am going to go ahead and just give you the answer. Feet squared. Okay, so like I said, all the work is nice and pretty, so we're going to do the last one. Now the last one, you gotta identify your bases, and then area equals half base 1 plus base 2 times height. Area equals half, well, that's 13.8 plus 8.2 times 10. And let's see, I'm going to do 13.8 plus 8.2, and that actually is going to 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 turn into 22. So 22 is an easy number to work with. Okay, so now I'm going to work with that half. Remember, to work with that half, you can either take half of 22 or half of 10. Half of 22 is 11 times 10 is 110, and that is 110 feet squared. So it looks kind of, that's what it looks like, okay? I just realized that wasn't the best way, but you know, I did it. So, there you go. I'm going to go back and highlight what I talked about. Work, and then each one has its work.